I am Erin, intuitive medium, Akashic past life alchemist, and ascension mentor for spiritual badasses. It's always a work in progress, but I'd love to know what you do, how you do it, why did you start what you do? And I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. If you're new here, if you are stumbling upon this, you're stumbling upon it for a reason. Spirit wants you to be here. Spirit wants you to witness this, to see this, to hear this. Something that I have to tell you, divulge, whatever it is something that is going to benefit you. So nothing is by circumstance and nothing is by, coincidence. Everything that happens for a reason, whether the good, the bad, or the ugly. So when I was 39 years old, I started my spiritual journey, my really intense, deep, healing spiritual journey. And what really sparked that was I had gastric sleeve surgery. So in 2016, I decided I needed to have knee surgery. I had severe osteoarthritis in my right knee, and to have the surgery that they were recommending, which was a very, very, very intense and very painful leg surgery. So they were going to take a big part of my bone out, put plates and screws in, and try to give me some stability so that I could, at 32 years old, I was 39, but I started having problems with my knee at 32. And, I'd been going all of these years pretty immobile, and the pain just increased and increased. So, at 39, I wanted to be active. I wanted to be able to go and to hike and to take my kids to go and do things, which I couldn't do anymore. So the doctor just really looked at me and he just said, you need to lose weight. And weight has been something I've been struggling with since I was 12 years old. It is nothing new. My eating, really kind of heavy eating disorders, began when I was 12. And I remember choosing to not eat. So I was not really a throw-upper, but definitely a binger. And it really started at that pretty young-ish age of 12. I've always had food issues and food problems, but I know the real kind of comparison, because I played a lot of sports. So I played sports with a lot of girls, obviously, and in the locker room comparing, even though I was not overweight, that was where a lot of my food and weight issues started to peak up. So at 39, I had not been without weight issues. I'd had severe weight issues. I was 326 pounds when I chose to have gastric sleeve surgery. And I really chose to have that surgery so that I could have knee surgery. They were going to do the high tibial osteotomy. It was supposed to bring me some relief for 10 years before I did a knee replacement. And so he said, you really need to lose weight. So I chose to have gastric sleeve surgery. So that's not something you just dive right into. It's a process. You have to go through it. And as I started to go through that process of getting qualified and, going to the classes and doing all that stuff you have to do, there's a lot of things that happen in there. You really kind of realize how unhappy you are. And my anxiety, my panic, my depression were things that really got to me my entire life. My anxiety, my panic, really started at the young age of about 12. So for me, being able to understand my anxiety, my panic. I'd been to therapy. I had been on medication. I had done different things, and nothing really moved the needle for me. Nothing really helped me. Nothing really shifted. I'm going to try to log on here on Facebook. And, it was a really big shift. So it was December of 2017, where I had gastric sleeve surgery. And in that recovery process, I remember throwing it out there to the world that I needed something. I love my husband, I love my kids, but the trauma, the anxiety, the panic, the depression that I had been suffering with for so long, I just needed relief. You work and you don't take care of yourself, especially as a mom. We tend to really give and overgive to our kids. We do everything for our kids, and we neglect ourselves. It's very easy to neglect ourselves when we're taking care of our family. And you can use that as an excuse, or you can use that as whatever. Both of my kids have had and have challenges, so they were not just, kids that you just go about your day. They were kids that need help, and they need guidance, and they need, doctors and different things and interventions in school and all of that stuff. So, you're navigating that. You're navigating yourself. You're navigating your own journey, and you put yourself last. So in that healing process, I really threw it out to the universe. I really had stopped talking to God when I was 16, when my mom died. I kind of told him to F off because he took my mom away. So I felt like he wasn't supporting me, wasn't listening. So I'm like, whatever. And so I remember writing in a journal, and I threw it out there to the universe. And I said, I just need something. I need something to enhance my life, change my life. I need something to help me actually heal. Medication, like I said, therapy, those things did not work for me. Nothing traditional worked or moved the needle, gave me relief, made me feel better. None of it. So within a couple of weeks, I had met my spiritual mentor. And within a couple of weeks of kind of throwing it out into the universe, I had met my spiritual mentor. And what that really looked like was, I had a call with her, and she really suggested that I learn Reiki for, my chronic pain. So, to go with having gastric sleeve surgery, weight loss surgery, I lived with chronic pain. I'd been living with chronic pain since 2012. So, and in 2017, it'd been quite 5 or 6 years by that point where chronic pain, where it's hard to walk without any pain, and it builds up, and it builds your depression. And as you gain weight, it makes your depression worse. And everything in your life really just starts to swirl and culminate around, the hardness of life. So, my spiritual mentor, Heather, she said, I think you should do Reiki for your chronic pain, and not have Reiki sessions, but be attuned. So when you are attuned to Reiki, anybody can give themselves self Reiki, but when you're attuned to Reiki, you just get this boost, you get this enhancement. So your gifts and abilities are kind of enhanced. So I started Reiki, and what really happened was it kicked on my intuition, and it really shifted my life, because what Reiki really allowed me to do is to connect to my mind, to my body, my soul in a whole new way. I'd never really given myself time. I'd never really given myself energy. I'd never really given myself any slack. I really just learned to survive at a pretty young age. And I didn't know how to be nice to myself. I didn't know how to treat myself well. I didn't know how to take care of myself or do any of that. So when I started to learn Reiki, and you have to every day in your 21-day kind of cleanse period, you really start processing, and things start really coming up for you. So for me, since I stuffed my emotions down for 39 years, I'm a hard, horrible, harsh cleanser. So when I did Reiki, when I did the shamanic rites, when I did DNA activations, when I started working the Akashic records, those things were deep, dark, and heavy for me, like deep, dark, and heavy, because there was a lot to let go and there was a lot to release. But what Reiki really did for me was it kicked on my intuition, my ability to connect with spirit. So I had so many ways that I was starting to shift my life. So I learned to meditate and calm my mind. I have ADHD, I have anxiety, I have panic, I have depression. So if you're sitting here saying, I can't do it, can you really not do it, or are you choosing not to do it? It took me practice every single day to learn how to meditate, to calm my mind enough to connect to spirit, to have an intention to heal. So I picked one topic, one reason to meditate every single day, to heal from, to understand, to gain clarity, to connect to spirit, whatever it was. And every day it got a little easier, and allowing yourself to connect to your real soul, to who you are, to what you have to offer the world, to your pain, to your trauma, and allow yourself to process it, to release it, to clear it. And having spirit with you to help you through that process is super fucking powerful. And what I really noticed, so I really started my journey in January of 2018. And I really noticed, so I started working in past lives, Akashic Records, by August that year. And what I really noticed in that amount of time was the massive changes that had been happening in my life. Manifesting, healing, really deep soul healing, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. My whole self started to change. I started to be way less negative. And what I really noticed in my house was we were all really negative, and I had to kind of shift the whole household, of the kids were younger, obviously, at that point, but 12 and 8-year-olds, and my husband, we had to really shift how we talked about things, how we thought about things, how we put our energy and time into stuff, because it was so negative, and it was just how we lived, and we didn't really think much about it until I changed how I live my life every day. then it really came to the forefront of, holy shit, we were super negative, super pessimistic, super half glass empty, and there was just no joy or happiness or anything about it. So, when I started to make these massive life changes, my whole family shifted as well. Obviously, they have choices. My kids use their intuitive gifts and abilities. They might not use them fully just yet, but they know how to use them, what to do with them. They didn't have to shut them off. And, you get to transform and change your life. So what I really, really started to do is connect to spirit, really started working in past lives. And when I really started going into past lives, it really started going into this whole deeper space. And this deeper space really is, clearing past lives, clearing things that are holding you back today, money wounds, witch wounds, relationship wounds, ancestral wounds. Your shadow work gets to be so much deeper when you start working in your past lives. So, and how I teach you to work in your past lives, which starts tomorrow. Akashic Mastery starts tomorrow if you're ready to work in your past lives. But what I really did in my past lives was I learned to clear and heal curses, cords, bindings, things that are holding you back to today. I learned how to correlate an issue of today into your past life. Is this a past life issue? What do we need to do about it? And asking spirit and having that process. And then really, bringing things forward then. So bringing your intuitive gifts and abilities, your wisdom, your knowledge, your power, your purpose, allowing yourself to bring those things forward is very fucking powerful and very important and very transformative in your life and in your journey. So your healing journey is your personal journey. You are in charge of it. So something that I witness a lot in my spiritual work, when I have sessions with people, when I teach, so I have a spiritual membership where we do, you learn to enhance your spiritual gifts and abilities, but you also get to learn how to run and create and enhance your spiritual business. Akashic Mastery is my program for you to work in and heal through and clear in your past lives. And I have another program, Intuition, or Accelerated Intuitive as well. And I have private mentoring. So all the ways that I work with people, the one thing that I really notice in people is that they, it's really hard sometimes for people to overcome and we want money, we want to manifest, we want a better job, we want to live our purpose, we want to have our gifts and abilities, we want to use them, we want to do all of these powerful and important things. But a lot of times it's really, 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 really hard for people to really put the energy and time and invest in themselves and a mentor and somebody to help them and guide them. It's really hard for them to let go of the pain, of the trauma, of the wounds, because they don't know what life is really like without it. So I was just on a podcast recently, Mo. It was such a great podcast episode. And something that really came through was, you can stay stuck where you're at. That's totally a choice and an option. But, nobody is going to make changes or transformations for you. If you don't put your energy and effort into it, then you're going to stay stuck in the money that you're at, and the job that you're at, the relationships that you're at. Your intuitive gifts and abilities are not going to be very strong, whatever it is. However you are being held back, that pain is still going to be there. The trauma, all of those things are going to stick around until you do something to clear them, to heal them, to really move them forward. So, taking responsibility for your healing, for your intuitive development, your intuitive growth, working in your past lives, healing, clearing, clarity, whatever it is you do in the spiritual world. That's my focus, is the spiritual world. Well, if you're coming across this and you're like, well, I'm not a spiritual coach, but are you a mentor? Are you a coach of some other kind? It doesn't really matter who or what you do. Whoever you work with, if you're mentoring them one-to-one through a program, whatever it is, the less that people heal, the harder it's going to be for them to achieve and have and do and accomplish all the shit that they want. So the more that you heal, the more that we get rid of all the mindfuckery, the easier, faster, stronger your connection to spirit, your intuitive gifts and abilities. The spiritual badass that you want to become gets to become so much fucking easier when you are on your healing, true healing journey, when you are clearing, releasing, letting go, this life, past life, realms and timelines in between. When you are truly processing, healing, clearing, releasing, and letting go, and not just witnessing and seeing it and understanding you have this trauma, this anxiety, this, but you have to clear, release, and remove it as well. Release the cords of it. You have to move out from under its thumb, and that can be a process. It can be a whole thing, and you see a lot of people talking about emotional regulation and all of that stuff, it all plays a part in it. So I have ADHD, anxiety, panic, depression. Fortunately, my ADHD It's a little bit different, but my anxiety, my panic, and my depression are pretty non-existent these days. I don't have constant paralyzing panic, anxiety, and depression every single day like I used to. It used to be 24/7, 365. I was in the what if life. What if this happens? What? I was so worried about what could happen and what might happen that I never ever lived for today. And when you're missing out on today, you are not guaranteed tomorrow. So if you're so fucking focused on what's going to happen in the days, weeks, months ahead that you're missing out on today, then what happens if something does happen to you tomorrow? What the fuck? You're wasting your fucking life by waiting, being paralyzed, being full of anxiety, being all of the fear, all of that stuff. So that is me in a nutshell. So I'm Erin Tudor Medium, Akashic and spiritual mentor, Akashic past life, and ascension mentor, spiritual mentor, to help you really enhance and grow your spiritual gifts and abilities. I'm also a shamanic healer, angelic healer, all of these other things, a shamanic practitioner. There's all of these other elements in things as well. But if you have questions on what I do, in this post below, it'll kind of list all of the things that I do. I have individual soul alchemy sessions. I have private mentoring. I only have 3 spots open for 2024. So if you really want to take your gifts and abilities into that multidimensional space, the expansive space, you want your connection to spirit, to your guides to be fast, easy, strong. You don't want to doubt it. You don't want to fear it. You want to be open to other realms and timelines, and to past lives, and to healing, and to the really big expansion. That is where my private mentoring comes in. It's a fucking powerful place to be. And in my membership, it's probably for people who are just trying to get a little consistency with their spiritual gifts, connecting to their guides, their routines, their daily practices, things like that. And then enhancing and creating your spiritual business is all in there inside of Intuition Unleashed, my membership. And then Soul Alchemy is my individual session. And Akashic Mastery starts tomorrow. So if you're seeing this, if you are ready to work in your past lives, like I said, to clear in your past lives, to heal through your past lives, to, clear cords, release, remove, to bring forward the good stuff, your intuitive gifts and abilities, your wisdom, your knowledge, your purpose, all of those things, those come through in your past lives. So learning to work in and heal through your past lives starts tomorrow. So Akashic Mastery Past Life Certification Program. It is Akashic Mastery 1, so you learn to work in, heal, and clear through your past lives. And then Akashic Mastery 2, you learn to do it for your clients. So in Akashic Mastery 2, the practices don't change a lot, but you learn how to do it for your clients. So you start charging for the service after you do the practice. In my Akashic Mastery 2, you have to practice on 10 people and get 10 testimonials and reviews. So when you add it into your spiritual business, your spiritual practice, you've already got 10 great, amazing testimonials to add to your website, to whatever it is that you're doing. So Akashic Mastery starts tomorrow. Wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. If you don't know if private mentoring with me is the thing for you, I do have a call. If you want to do private mentoring, you just don't know if I'm the person, follow me, stalk me, check out my videos, see what I do, how I talk. I do not sugarcoat what I do, and I throw the F-bomb a lot. So if that's something you can't handle, I have other mentors that I can suggest for you. But I hope that everybody has a fucking kick-ass day. I'm going to come back on and talk about past lives here in just a little bit. But I wanted to have a new post to pin, so I wanted to just kind of come in and talk about what I do. But I would love to hear about what you guys do. And, post it below. What do you do? How do you help people? What got you to where you're at, So for me, it was 39 years of misery and unhappiness and just, anxiety, panic, all of those things just really overwhelming me and taking over my life. And now I don't have to live that way. And that's why I am a spiritual mentor. I get to help other people release and clear that shit and really embrace their intuitive and spiritual badass power. So I hope everybody has a great Wednesday, and I will talk to everybody later.